There's an old saying in trading that says sell in May and go away. And well, this year I've been doing that to the fullest. Luckily, thanks to Spotify for podcasters, I can record, edit, schedule, and distribute my episodes everywhere from wherever I'm at using either my phone or my computer. Also, video podcasts are available as well in case I ever want to share the views with you guys as I hop around the country. So, if you're interested in starting a podcast and perhaps you're worried about all the complicated background stuff, put those worries aside because with Spotify for podcasters, it's now easier than ever to get started. By the way, you know what else is easy? Monetizing your show, as they literally do all the work for you. So head over to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started today, or simply download the Spotify for Podcasters app. It costs you nothing, which brings me to another saying I enjoy. If it's free, it's for me. Hey guys, Akil here. Welcome back to the Trading Coach Podcast. Today, we are going to talk about trading in the zone and how you can put yourself in position to do so. By the way, if you haven't given it a listen or a read yet, I guess, Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas is a fantastic book. It is a must recommended read by me and probably any other trader in the industry. It's kind of the staple of trading psychology and mental mind state. And I would tell you this though, it is one of those books that you are better off reading after you've already traded, right? So there are some books out there that maybe you can read before you get trading to kind of give you an idea of kind of what to expect and what to do and learn and all this stuff. This is one of those books where I don't think most traders are going to take it seriously until you've already experienced it, right? You gotta already experience that kind of pain to then understand exactly what he's talking about instead of kind of brush it to the side like, oh yeah, I'll never do that. I'll never feel like that, because trust me, you will. So at some point in your trading career, make sure you make sure you listen or read Trading in the Zone by Mark Douglas. He also has I don't know the name of it. If you remember it, you can type it in under the comment section in this podcast. But there's like a YouTube video series that was recorded from a presentation he did as well. I'm sure if you just enter Mark Douglas, maybe Trading in the Zone, something will come up. But that's worth the watch as well. But trading in the zone is a real thing, and being in the zone is a real thing. And what Mark Douglas means by trading in the zone, what us as traders talk about when we're in the zone, it means like this kind of out of body sense of focus, right? If you're an athlete, you've probably had that before. Maybe the ball's in your hand and 2 seconds are left on the clock and you kind of ignore everything else around you and just all your senses, your full sense of focusedness is focused on an individual task. And we were talking about this morning in church about focus and communication and how to kind of block out the noise and filter out the bad messages and only fill your life with the good messages or the positive messages. And, part of that comes by the decision of, I guess, in real life, who you surround yourself with. In trading or in other forms of business or investing or whatnot, it has to do with what you focus your attention on. Because here's the thing, there's going to be a lot of distractions in life. There's a lot of distractions all over the place, whether it is the internet, whether it is TVs, whether it is kids, whether it's fellow employees and coworkers, right? Who knows, whether it's the birds outside, right? It could be a million things, but there's lots of distractions in life, and it's completely up to us how we handle those. I know a lot of people make excuses where it's like, oh, I got distracted, that's why I didn't do what I need to do. Well, it's up to you to kind of change that. I'll give you a good example, right? Both of my kids are home from school right now, so it's a lot busier, a lot noisier around the house, right? They're 8 and 4, so they're at each other's throats 24/7. So what I started doing is I have another office. I started leaving my home office and doing a lot of my work from my actual office just to get that peace and quiet, because I was honestly using it as an excuse. Oh, I didn't do that today because, the kids distracted me or this or that or blah, 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 blah. I decided to kind of grab the wheel and said, hey, I'm going to control this situation and put myself in the best situation to succeed. Now, in other aspects of life, right, putting your, what you want to do is you want to put yourself around the people that are going to give you the messages that kind of relate to what you want to do, right? If you are a person that aspires to be great at something, if you're someone who is positive and you want to stay motivated, surround yourself with people who value the same things, and those messages are going to start standing out more than others. And it's a real thing, right? Your brain, and I can't explain how this works inside your brain, but your brain works in a way where it understands familiar sounds, it understands familiar messages, and it will purposely value those over others. And that has, not 100%, but it has a lot to do with who you're around. Good example is this, right? I spend a lot around, any parents like this, right? I spend a lot of time around my kids, right? So if you have kids or a family, a wife, a husband, a partner, whatever it may be, you spend probably the majority of your time around that person. Let me ask you this. If you're in a crowded space and everyone's yelling and screaming and that person yells out, "Daddy, Mommy," whatever like that, can't you distinguish like that's your kid from every other kid out there? I don't know about you, but I can. I did this we had a party the other day, and kids are playing. There's probably like 10 or 12 kids playing in the basement, and all I hear is, "Daddy, where you at?" And boom, knew it was my kid. Could have been any of the other 12 kids, but I knew it was my kid because my brain filtered that. I'll give you a sports example real quick before we get into kind of the trading specific stuff. I coached track and field, and I had two athletes that ended up going 1 and 2 in the 400 meter dash, but I had to give them very specific instructions in the middle of their race. Now, if you know anything about track and field, you get to the middle of the race, everyone's screaming and yelling. It is mayhem, right? It's crazy. Yet they were able to distinguish my voice and hear my instructions amongst everyone else that was yelling. I'm talking hundreds and hundreds of people yelling. And the reason that they were able to do that is because they spent a lot of time with me. They're with me basically every day for multiple hours a day from, 9 months out of the year. And they said, "Coach, yeah, when I run, I don't hear anything else except for my parents, and I hear you." And I always thought they just said that because they want to make me feel like they're actually paying attention to, whatever like that, or they're paying attention to me. But it's 100% true. And it's because we spend that time, and their brain has been taught to distinguish my voice from everyone else's. So when that filter, when that focus comes in, that zone they enter, when it comes into play, my voice is able to get filtered through while everything else is able to get blocked out. And in trading, it's the same type of situation, right? There are a million ways to trade. There are a million styles, a million techniques, a million tactics to trade. And there is a massive amount of stuff that is seen in the market. If we're just speaking, we could do this for fundamental analysis as well. If you ever look at like any type of earnings sheet or something like that, right? A million figures and data points if you've ever used like a scanner or a filter, right? All this stuff to get you distracted from a technical perspective, right? Most of what the market gives you is complete junk. It gives you candlesticks. It gives you candlestick combinations. It gives you support and resistance. It gives you indicators. It gives you this. It gives you that, right? But most of that stuff is irrelevant to what we actually need to make a good trading decision. The problem is for a trader that isn't in the zone, we are seeing all of that stuff, right? And it's confusing us because we're saying, "Oh, look at that. I've seen that before somewhere on the internet. Oh, look at that. I remember in a book someone mentioned that. Maybe that's important. Oh, look at this. Look at that. Look at that." And we're going in a million places. And you guys know how I feel about energy. We have a very set energy bar, right? We have a specific amount of energy that we can spend. Let's start it at 100%. And every time we venture off and pay attention to something else, it's using 5% here, 10% there, 20% there, right? It's splitting that energy up into different areas. It's like multitasking. If you try to do a million tasks at once, you don't really get any of those tasks done in a quality way. So what we want to do as traders is we want to focus on the specifics of what we need to find our trading scenario, right? If you ever spent any time with me in like the live trading room or something like that, it's interesting because I'll do analysis and I try to make it as educational as possible and answer questions and look at kind of the trading opportunities from many different perspectives, not my selfish perspective. But sometimes I drop into straight Akil Stokes trading mode and I'm looking at something and I'm like, okay, nothing here, nothing here. Oh, boom, 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 boom. And I find something really, really quick. And they're like, "How the hell did you do that so quickly? And what about this? What about that?" And I'm like, "I don't care about that. I don't care about that." But yeah, but I saw this in a book before. Like, yeah, it doesn't matter to me. And it doesn't matter because it's not part of my plan. It could be a fantastic trading signal. It could be the best trading signal in the world. But if it isn't part of something that is valuable in my specific trading realm, I give it zero attention. Again, aside from educational purposes for the traders that I work with, but from my personal trading perspective, I give it zero attention. It just doesn't matter to me. Why? Because I'm in that zone. I put myself in that zone where I'm only focused on X, Y, Z, the things that are part of my trading plan. Those filter through. I see more of them because I'm locking in more of my energy on those specific areas, and everything else I really just ignore and don't pay attention to. So the question is, how do we get to this spot where we're trading in the zone? Well, it's the same thing I talked about in your personal life, right? If you want to put yourself in a position where you're noticing certain voices or figures or faces stand out amongst the others, where they break through the filter where everything else doesn't, it takes spending a massive amount of time with those people. The more time you spend with those people, the better relationship you form. The better relationship you form, those people or whatever comes from those people starts to filter through. Well, trading is the same way. And we always say that if you want to become, there's no better teacher in the market than experience. Now, there are things you need to know and stuff you have to do before you can use experience the right way. But at the end of the day, once you have a solid base, a solid foundation, experience is going to be your best teacher. And we always say that you can't really learn from podcasts. You can't really learn, and we should say the full way from podcasts. You can't really learn the full way from YouTube videos. You can't even learn the full way from training courses, right? And I teach training courses, and I'm telling this to you, right? You have to learn from the market. So the best teacher is time in the market. And when you spend time in the market, and specifically time in the market on the things that you're supposed to be working on, that's where you start developing that relationship, right? No different than spending time with your family, your friends, your kids. You're coming into the market every day, whether it's part of your pre-market routine where you're looking to X, Y, Z in these pairs or these assets in this specific order, or whether you're looking for these specific things on a specific chart, or whether you're just doing kind of homework and study work where you're investing, hey, I'm going to spend a half an hour a day kind of researching this specific thing. All of that is time in the market. And the more time you spend in the market, the better your filter becomes, right? The better you become at filtering out the junk and accepting the good stuff. And by good stuff, I mean the stuff that matters to you in. And when it's time to actually start trading, whether it's live, whether it's demo, whatever it is for you, what you're going to find is that as long as you're sticking to that routine, you're going to end up focusing fully on just those things, ignoring everything else, and boom, before you know it, you're going to be in the zone. And I tell you what, from a trader who has been through everything that you're going to be through, specifically the point where I was looking at a chart and I was doing 80 different things, differently every single day, and I was confused and there was no consistency. Once I started trading in the zone, once I started coming into the market every single day, looking at the same charts on the same time frames and the same, technical tools and pattern formations every single day, multiple times a day, once I got in that zone, there was such a comfort level in my trading where I just felt comfortable with what I was doing because I was following a process that I did a million times. And as I felt more comfortable, I began to become more confident. And as I became more confident, that grew my belief. I started taking more confident actions, aka doing the things that I was supposed to do. And I started believing in myself more. And as I believed in myself more and took more of those actions, the results started turning in my favor, from being in the negative each month to being in the positive, to making mistakes each month to slowly limiting those mistakes to the point where I'm at now, where I maybe make a handful of mistakes, if that, each and every year. And once you experience that zone, when you get out of it, man, it's weird, right? And we are going to get out of it. We are going to have kind of drawbacks where maybe we get to a point where we're too cocky. We get to a point where we become so good that we don't need to do our routine. Or, I've had this a few times where I've taken vacation from the market. Well, I take vacation every year from the market, but let's say I take vacation like mid-year for some reason. I just take a week off and I come back, and that first day back, I don't know what to do. It feels weird. So it happens that quick. Once you do that, it kind of just brings more power to what that zone feels like. And trust me, once you enter that zone, you never want to leave. Now, before I let you guys go, do me a favor. Let me know what you guys do to enter the zone. Is it something specific? Is it meditation? Is it reviewing your trading plan? Is it listening to something, reading something, watching something, right? This is only my personal experience. I don't have all the answers. So if you guys want to share what you do to get in the zone, I would love it. And who knows, maybe I'll come back and share it on a future episode of the Trading Coach Podcast. All right, take care.